Hello everybody, welcome to the Wine Stain. I'm Dave Serfozo, glad you could join us. It's been a while since we've seen you, and let's just owe that to technical difficulties and a number of other issues, but we plan on moving forward. We'll have a show for you every Friday. We're looking at some other shows that would pop up from time to time, and we want to make Booze TV the kind of place you can come to at almost any time during the week and see some new episode with some new information, and most importantly that you have a lot of fun doing it. Tonight what we're going to do is cover a couple of wines from the Mendocino Wine Company up in Ukiah. The Mendocino Wine Company, a fairly recent company, 2004. It was created when a gentleman named Paul Dolan got together with the Thornhill family, and they found that they both had very similar ideals as far as how they wanted to create their wines, and with that they started creating various brands. I believe there's 5 or 6 different ones now, and including Parducci, which they purchased, which was the oldest winery in Mendocino. But as I said, they're a fairly new company, and one of the companies that they have is Wines That Rock, and they're based on wines dealing with fairly well-known rock acts. Tonight what we're going to try is a Chardonnay from 2009, and it's just simply referred to as the Woodstock Chardonnay. We're also going to try Merlot, 40 Licks Rolling Stones Merlot, and that's from 2009. Very soon on Wine, Women, and Song, we're going to be covering the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon wine, and we're going to pair that up with the album itself, which has come out recently in various reissues, some of which are very large. So we're hoping to put that all together so you can see that if you have a real love for music and classic rock, as they say. My kids call it classic rock. I'm like, it's the stuff I grew up with. Nothing classic about it. It's just the stuff I remember. Also, they have a police wine called Synchronicity, and just recently they've released a Grateful Dead wine, which we've got to really try that one out. So let's jump into it. Let's try the Woodstock Chardonnay and see what they give us. Both of these wines, someone critiqued me or commented to me recently that I wasn't talking about the alcohol content in the wines. Both of these are 13.5% alcohol. Not that a lot of people really care that much about it, but I figure we'll share that with you. A lot of fairly common characteristics of a Chardonnay, a California Chardonnay. It's not very oaky, this particular one. There is some, but you get the strong green apple, crisp fruit flavors coming through on it pretty strong. Juicy fruit gum, if you remember that from, if you're of a older age, if you remember that. Got a little bit of that there as well. Also got a little bit of an, I don't know if you remember, maybe when you had kids, I don't think we had toys in plastic bags when I was a kid, but you tear it open and there's a plastic toy and there's that fresh plastic smell. There's a slight hint of that in here as well. It's not overbearing and it's not taking over anything. Let's give it a taste. That's a good wine. I like this. It's well balanced. Acidity is very nice, and slight little bit of alcohol here and there, just kind of on you as I was drinking it, or swishing it around. But not bad at all. But the strongest flavors I got right off the bat were bananas and pears. And the banana is fairly strong, and it's also accompanied by some a little bit lighter sort of tropical fruit flavors, very slight pineapple, kind of a guava sort of thing going on there. But it's very nice. There is but the bulk of it is the banana and pear tastes, and the banana gives it just that little bit of creaminess that you don't necessarily get, and it's not the oaky flavor. It's something a little bit unique. I like this wine. It's a very unique wine, a wine that I think if you served at a party would get people's attention. I would drink this with a meal, and I drink it by itself. I recommend this. I didn't dump that on the floor, by the way. Got my little spit bucket down on the floor today. I didn't want to cover up my wine snob sign here. There we go. Put it on camera there for you so you can see it. All right, this is the 40 Licks Merlot from Wines That Rock. So we're going to give that a shot. It seems to be fairly centered on sort of a cherry cream soda, so which is more of the vanilla, which is coming from the oak, I'm sure. Not sure what else we're getting. It's a little woodsy, sort of a cedar, redwoodish aroma in there. It's not the oak at all that I'm really getting. That seems to be it. So let's give it a try and see what we get. That's a nice wine as well. The cherry is still there, although it seems to be a little more tart at this point. Getting a little bit into the Pinot Noir range, where you a lot of times get that sort of tart cherry taste, and I like it. It's interesting. There's a little bit of strawberry there. It has a very long finish. The acidity is very good on this wine, and as a matter of fact, on the mid palate and on the finish itself, is still a fairly strong flavor, stronger than you usually get from a Merlot, which a lot of times in the Merlots, you'll get something initially, you get a nice taste when you first take a sip of it, but then it diminishes fairly quickly. This isn't a real complex wine, but it has some interesting flavors, which make it a fairly unique wine as well. So I give good marks to both of these wines and would recommend them. I have never seen them in the stores. Maybe it's just the stores I'm going to, but they're easily available from the website. And another thing I will recommend is that you go to their Facebook page and click the like button there, and what you'll get from them are both updates on the wine and on music itself. If it was the first time Pink Floyd played Madison Square Garden, you'll sometimes get a little update from them on that, and that's kind of interesting if you like wine and you like music from the 70s and the 80s. So I invite you to do that. If you haven't clicked on the like for us down there, I invite you to do that as well. I'd greatly appreciate it. Behind me, you'll see a rather unique painting. That is from my son. He has been drafted to do a couple of different paintings that are wine themed. That was all I told him. Do some paintings that are wine themed. What we're going to do with them is auction them off for charity at some point in the future, and we invite you to vote on them at some point. We're going to have them up on the site, and we'll be looking for votes on that. So keep an eye out for that. This is the first one. Maybe I'll put it up and ask people to name it, because then none of these have any names yet as well. So join us next week on Friday for another edition of The Wine Stain. We're glad you joined us. Good night.